Hey, what's up, everybody? It is Yellowjackets Buzz. What's going on, Citizen Detectives, Antler Queen's secret boyfriends? Are you too sexy for this pod? If so, you're in the right place. It's Yellowjackets Buzz talking about Season 3, Episode 3, Them's the Breaks. I'm Glenn Rubenstein, joined by NYC Demon Diva Issa, here to break down everything we just saw in this episode. Issa, how's it going?
It's going well. I'm too sexy to be murdered.
Okay, so I have so much to jump into this, and I apologize. We're doing this show later than usual. We did
It's
the
all
first
Glenn's
episodes.
fault. Let me
It's
just
all my
put
fault.
that out there.
We're not going to unpack too much of this, but I went to a child's birthday party that was Squid Game themed, where there were no Squid Games, and a little disappointed.
He's very upset about this because he brought it up before we went live, and he brought it up again. So he's really disappointed by this.
I partially flew to Northern California. I mean, I want to see my family as well, but I was like, a Squid Game themed birthday party for a child? This is going to be incredible.
I would have been disappointed if nobody got killed.
Well, I thought we were going to do, I mean, there was no tug of war. There was no, I mean, there's a lot of things we could have played that were, party.
I would have expected a giant bridge and somebody to go through glass or.
I was like, are we setting up glass in the backyard? What are we doing? But we're not here to talk about Squid Game. We're talking about Yellowjackets. Ooh, okay, here's the deal. If a child or a teenager on the West Coast of the United States has a Yellowjackets themed birthday party, please send us photos. Actually, anywhere. I was gonna say, see if it's on the West Coast, we would go, but no, that's too much. That'd be weird. If you're anywhere in the world and you have Yellowjackets themed birthday party for children, please send photos.
Invite us.
Yeah. We'll you know what? We'll send a video message, but we want you to post photos on social media of that.
Please. We want to see. They had a Hot Topic line. Did you see it?
No, I have not seen the Hot Topic line.
I need to go to Hot Topic because they had these cute little Yellowjacket shorts. I'm dying for them.
Okay, there you go. So yes, let us know about your Yellowjackets theme parties. But they have to be for children because that's really what makes it hilarious.
Yellowjackets for children?
What kid
is watching Yellowjackets, Glenn?
When we get to season 5 of Yellowjackets, I want the animated spin-off series, the prequel Little Jackets, where they're just a soccer team. Little Jackets. They're a soccer team, they're friends, and we get to see the happy times in animated form. They're Little Jackets.
Cute.
Yeah, it'd be good. Anyhow, season 3, episode 3, Them's the Breaks, which I hope is an homage to the line from the end of Grease 2. Maybe it's not, but I hope it is. We open with I'm Too Sexy by Right Said Fred. And Mari is in the cave. She's too sexy for this cave, too sexy for this rope, too sexy to be murdered.
What are you too sexy for, Glenn?
It's a good question. I haven't thought about this in at least 34 years.
Oh,
so
wow. Okay.
I'll get back to you
My
on that.
bad. Okay.
Yes. It's interesting that when I rewatch this and we see what comes later, where Coach feeds her bat, which he describes as a Cornish game hen mixed with a demon. It's interesting that when Mari goes into her seduction routine with Coach Ben and talking about how all the girls had a crush on you, but mine was the biggest. And I'm so glad to be alone with you. I've envisioned it, but not like this. I wonder if her singing I'm Too Sexy is what gave her this idea, or was her singing I'm Too Sexy trying to subtly plant?
It was her hyping herself up for it.
Yeah.
That's what I used to do. Like I before any kind of romantic anything, I play I'm Too Sexy, and that hypes me up for the moment.
I was gonna say you just walk around singing it, hoping it's like a subliminal message.
Yes.
You're just in the orbit, and you're like, if I'm singing it and I'm saying it, the song's true. Songs don't lie,
Yes.
But I really enjoyed this, and it occurred to me that based on season 1 and season 2, that it is not common knowledge that Coach Ben is gay. So when they're there in the cave and she's doing this, like, so overtly, so transparently.
She's giving him
Um,
the eyes too, like, hey.
yes, it was like, I'm low on blood, but I must be blushing right now. I mean, it's beautiful in how transparent and obnoxious it is, to where, but she thinks that in Coach Ben's state, where he was talking to himself at the end of the last episode, was talking the voices, she's like, I think this has a chance.
Yeah. Can I ask you something? Did you
Yeah.
forget for a slight second, that Coach Ben was gay?
No.
I feel like
No.
it actually hasn't been brought up. You know what? No, okay. Well, my personal viewing experience, I was like, oh yeah, he is gay.
Yeah.
Maybe I was too into the "I'm too sexy" moment that I forgot to.
So when she was doing this, I mean, I knew she was lying to try and distract him or get the upper hand. But what I love
Was
about
she?
this, was she? I think she was. I think she was. Because she shuts it off immediately. When he
Yeah,
reveals
of
that.
course. Like any girl that has handled rejection, you're not gonna like lower yourself to keep going.
I have some thoughts on this, but let's keep this going. I love though that Coach Ben, before he reveals that he's gay, says, "Didn't you say the gym coach stood for pervert failure?" And I love, she's like, "Yes, you gave me detention. I got to spend more time with you because of that." Like, I love that she's really trying to. Mari should be in sales.
She's so good.
Coach Ben saying also that she spread a rumor that he had raging gonorrhea.
Yes.
Yes. And she's like, "Oh, like, man, less competition." And then finally, after all this, then he does the reveal that he's gay, and yeah, she shuts down immediately. Like, this was wonderful. I could watch an entire season of Ben and Mari in the cave.
Yeah, me too. It was a great interaction.
This is the sitcom spinoff that we need.
I'm super happy that Mary's getting all this TV time because she's so great.
She is.
She felt like
She's
such a background character for a little bit, but now she's really shining on season 3.
Yeah. Yeah. And I like, by the way, but to your point about rejection, I like that Ben says, even if I wasn't gay, I would rather shove a knife or something dull through my eye.
If a girl tells you that when you're trying to put the moves on her, you're not gonna turn it off immediately, Glenn?
Yeah.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I get it. I get it. But then she asks for some of Coach's bat. Are you going to finish that? And then uses that as a means to get close to him, to take the bear spray or the mace or whatever it is, sprays Coach Ben in the eyes with it. And then in the struggle, she gets sprayed in the eyes also, which I just love that style of humor.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
Especially the struggle when they fall down to the ground and she's like, I can't believe you sprayed me. And he's like, what are you talking about? It's all your fault. So good. This was great.
Yeah, this was a delightful way to open the episode. And after last week and everything that happened, yeah, I love this. Then we go to the credits as they're rolling around. And then, as predicted on this podcast, on Reddit, and by everyone, Van is at the doctor's office finding out her cancer. It's early, but it could be in remission. It certainly stopped spreading.
Yeah, because they sacrificed the waiter.
I know.
I'm so happy for her. Though Van deserves everything.
I agree. I love Van. This was so good. So good.
Yeah, it was. I love the facial expressions that she was making, the doctor being so puzzled, like not being able to understand what they're witnessing, is so good.
Yeah. So Van takes that news with cautious optimism. We cut to Shauna and Callie. It's the morning after the sleepover. Callie is loving the suspended life, wondering if she should try and get expelled. And then Lottie overhears them, comes in, and a little rude about, not being into breakfast or not wanting to go to lunch with Shauna, saying, she got this.
She just got like drugged by the daughter the night before. What is the mom capable of? I wouldn't eat there either.
I get it. But she just got out of the psych ward, the 13th floor, and now she's got a busy schedule. An active social
Yeah,
life to
she's
get back to.
fully
Fully
booked.
booked.
Yeah, stealing things.
Well, we'll talk about that. That was
I need to add that to my calendar tomorrow. I have an opening at 10:30. Let me go steal a dress somewhere.
Do you remember when and this is where you could tell Lottie is a child of the 80s and 90s, because for her, where do you go? You go to the mall.
Yes.
Yeah.
You ever steal something from the mall, Glenn?
Not from the mall.
Oh, but you stole.
I mean, we can tell this story. There was an elaborate, I want to say it was like a heist when the Game Boy came out, because nobody could afford the Game Boy. And I had a group of friends that tried to figure out how to.
Game Boy?
Well, it wasn't me. I didn't do it. I just helped plan it. I had friends that were trying to figure out how to steal a Game Boy from like Kmart, and they did successfully.
And you freaking frowned upon dining and dashing last week?
It's a little different.
No, it's not different. It's not different. You need food to survive. You don't need a Game Boy to survive.
Tell that to a child in 1990.
Yeah, I had a Game Boy.
Have you played Tetris on the Game Boy, Isa?
Yes, I still have a working Game Boy.
See? Did you pay
to
for
this
it?
Day, Glenn.
Did you pay for it? Or did you boost that?
That one I actually paid for at a retro convention.
Okay, at a retro convention. There you go.
Yeah, it's not my original. I don't know what happened to my original.
Yeah. It was a simpler time.
Yes.
Yes. But I don't know, like the mall, that just seemed like that's high stakes. Like breaking into Fort Knox.
It's not high stakes. When you escape the store, it's so easy to get lost in the crowd. They can't find you after. That's why they gotta get you before you exit the store. Not that I'm a pro at this or anything, because my mother is actually in the chat. So I'm just saying.
Regular Lottie Matthews over here. But okay, so Misty calls Shauna, and Misty wants to get together.
She's trying to prove there's actual friendship there.
Yes, their friendship is not in air quotes. But I like that Misty could just blow off work at the old folks' home.
I like that Misty was early at work after the hangover that she must have. She said, I can hold my alcohol. I'm like, props to you.
Yeah. No, Misty is hardcore.
I have 2 beers and I can't function the next day. Well, I think she might have been faking it based on what we learned later. So.
Oh, possibly. But we cut back to the cave. They have water. They're cleaning the mace out of their eyes. It's nice. It's a nice moment between them. So what's interesting about this scene is that they actually have a little bit of a bonding moment, and Coach Ben, is talking about understanding why
Matthews Band.
Dave Matthews Band. He's a normal guy. He's seen Dave Matthews Band 3 times. He doesn't even really like them, which thought was a great reveal. But seeing Dave Matthews Band like in 1996, 97 3 times, like he's on the like front end of Dave Matthews hype.
Okay.
Well, they got much more popular. Like they were still kind of like a not underground.
I'm not a Dave Matthews person, Glenn.
That does not surprise me. Not at all. I'm just saying, like I was involved with a girl that was really into Dave Matthews Band around like the year 2000. And like they were really popular then. So if you were listening to them in 96, 97, you were still a little bit early, is my point.
I'm too sexy for Dave Matthews Band.
Yes, coach is there you go. But he likes 7-Eleven and frozen burritos. And he just likes that simple suburban life.
7-Eleven burritos sound so gross.
Oh my God. So when I was cutting school before, when I used to cut high school, we would go to 7-Eleven and get like hot dogs and nachos at 7-Eleven.
Where did you grow up?
In the suburbs.
Okay.
Yeah, like this is what you do, Isa. It's like off-campus lunch.
When you grow up in an island, we go to the beach, and we're
nowhere
to be found for the rest of the day. We go surfing. We have fun.
We were like 40 minutes from the beach, so there was no
Yeah,
illusion
but
you were going back to school then.
California beaches are not Puerto Rico beaches. No offense to your beaches, Glenn.
Wow, shots fired.
I've been there. I've seen
I
those
know.
beaches. Are
I
different.
know. I get it. I get it. So they're having this conversation, but the really interesting thing, Coach Ben started subbing because he tore his ACL. He had student loans to pay off. Good
Mm-hmm.
backstory there. Assuming he played soccer, that's why he became a soccer coach.
Makes sense.
Champion soccer coach. His life was on the upswing when this all happened.
Poor guy.
Poor guy. I agree. But Mari tells the story, a very sad story about her
Yeah.
much younger cousin dying. And of course, I got distracted because she mentioned there was a show on Nickelodeon with puppets, and I was like,
And
"Oh,
you were trying to figure out what the
No, I
show
knew what it
was?
was. It was Eureka's Castle. Like I
I
wasn't
didn't
even
watch
that.
Nickelodeon at that
You didn't
age. Huh?
wait. Hold on a second.
I grew up without cable in an island where we actually did fun things. We went outside. We went to the beach. It's paradise. So we
You
didn't
didn't.
watch a lot of TV.
You didn't watch. You can't do that in television. You didn't watch Danger
No,
Mouse.
I didn't. I didn't have cable, bro.
Okay, I get it. Nickelodeon was a thing. Okay, let me explain something. Sorry, I'm moving past the sadness. It's a really sad story. What Mari said, and I don't want to get into it because it's just gonna make me really.
It is, but Glenn
bummed
is
out.
shocked that Puerto Rico didn't get cable until later.
No, but okay, let me explain the American child trajectory of growing up in the 80s and the 90s. MTV was like the cool thing that you got really into as a teenager, but when you were too young for that, you still watched a little MTV, but like Nickelodeon was your jam. Like you would watch the kid stuff, but then you get older and you would watch Don't Just Sit There. You'd watch Rated K. You'd watch For Kids by Kids. You'd watch Double Dare. You know?
I didn't have cable.
Yes. But it was
a
like
luxury back then, and by the time I got it, I was old enough to just want to watch MTV. So I never went through a Nickelodeon stage.
But cable was new. Cable was, if you were a child, and I'm only a few years older than these characters. I'm class of 94. They're class of I guess 97, 98. But cable was new. Like to your point about Puerto Rico not having it, like cable came to your town and it was like, oh my God, now we have cable. Like my life is going to change. It was like when we got internet, it was huge. It's a big deal.
Yep.
Yeah. So Eureka's Castle was the show, but she tells the story about Mari being in the room when her young cousin died of brain cancer. And then she mentions the same, and I thought this was interesting. I didn't connect this the first time I watched the episode, but she mentions being in the lobby and the same show was on, and then she talks about this as like two different realities. Mm-hmm. And I took something much deeper about this the second time because she's talking about the genesis of this was like you could have the same show on television in a room where something terrible is happening, and then in another room where just life is going on. And then she talks about the two realities, one where the bad things happen and the other one where they don't exist. So I'm not sure exactly where they're going with this, but this episode, if you're a fan of Yellowjackets and you're saying, man, I really want them to explain kind of like where this is all going with the wilderness and the spirits and what's real and what's perceived, this episode really moved things forward to kind of give us.
It did. A lot more back into the speculation and the fan theories that we love so much in season 1. It felt that way with this episode. But I love her theory about the two realities because I believe, like I saw her point, especially the way that she broke it down about how, this terrible thing happened here with the same TV show, but over here, nothing is happening and life is going on as normal. That's most people's reality. You don't know what anybody's going through at the moment. You know what I mean? I really like the significance of it. She said we live in two different realities, and it's true.
But what's interesting about it is that I think you could actually interpret it two different ways, right? It's like you could interpret it as to your point, bad things happen and they affect some people and they don't affect others. So her saying there are two versions of reality, one just lurking behind the other, right? Like you can interpret it that way. You could also interpret it, and I'm going the extreme other end. You could also interpret it like Stranger Things, like the idea that there's a good version and a bad version, like the regular version of the Upside Down. Like,
right.
I think where Yellowjackets is going, I'm sure it's somewhere in between, but I like that there's ambiguity in this.
Well, the wilderness and the woods could be a whole different reality that nobody's aware of, Yeah, I see what you're saying.
Yeah, it's much deeper. And what's weird about it is so much else happens in this episode that it's easy to kind of like I'd actually forgotten about this when I started watching it the second time. Where I was like, oh yeah, wait a second. She just dropped like a major bomb
Yeah.
with this, you know? So TBD on how this ends up playing out in the show, but Coach Ben decides after the story to let her go.
Well, first she says that she could go back to the others
Yes.
and never even mention him. Said that it takes her so long to get back that it took her a couple of days because she hurt her knee and she couldn't walk, which, which I thought, okay, that's clever, but that's not what she ended up doing. But I thought she was gonna do it. I thought she was not gonna tell them.
Yeah, it reminded me of that. There's that line in one of my favorite movies, Stand By Me, where they're like, and we're never going to tell anybody about this, and apparently never lasted all of 45 minutes.
Right.
Yeah, well, we'll talk about this and what Mari ends up doing, but then we cut to present day in the mall, and Lottie is doing some retail therapy, which, oh my god, if that, if they're sending her to a psych ward, if retail therapy was part of the curriculum, she'd be great. She'd never leave. If the 13th floor was just a place where she could shoplift.
Well, that's how did I ever tell you how I picture heaven if heaven exists?
Oh, no, please. I want to hear this.
I picture, if you get your way to heaven, right? I picture heaven to be a ginormous mall with everything, all the luxury stores. And then when you get access granted, they give you just a black card with unlimited credit and you just shop for eternity. That's how I picture heaven. With Roman Reigns. With Roman Reigns, that's your shopping part. He holds the bags for you,
So is this more of like a Buddhist thing, or you think this is more like a Christian version of heaven, or
that's just my version.
Issa's philosophy.
Listen, if I go into all my philosophies about life, we'll be here all night.
It's true. Okay, so it's interesting that Lottie, look, we know from the end of season 2 when Lottie liked how strong Callie was after, wielding that gun. We know that Lottie wants to mentor her, is suggesting this dress for her, slipping it in her bag, telling her about security, getting her to shoplift. We know that Lottie sees Callie as the embodiment of that wilderness energy.
Right. She thinks she's powerful. However, she forget they're back in 2021. Like, there's cameras. There's more than just the loss prevention obvious person standing in the corner. This isn't the 90s anymore, Lottie. Like, security doesn't work that way.
Well, okay, if I were gonna do like a twist on this, Issa, if I was a writer on the show, when Shauna finds out about this and yells at Lottie, I'm sure like I would have Lottie say like, oh no, I actually paid for it and set it up with the store. Like, I just want to see if Callie was actually going to do it. Lottie's got the money. In fact, that was the reveal, and that's the reason why this is so awesome. Is this goes back to episode 2 when they were playing the confessions. Lottie has money. She was stealing stuff from TJ Maxx, returning it, having a fortune in Max bucks. We know that's where her real fortune is. Still,
right? She's probably the owner of TJ Maxx. That's how she's a millionaire.
So many Max bucks, yeah. But yeah, this isn't about the money for her. It's about the thrill. It's about the grift.
Yeah, I see it.
Yeah. So then Misty and Shauna are having breakfast. Misty has confirmed they get the berries from Vermont for those scones.
Right. So interesting.
But I love that. I wish they would have smash cut to flashbacks when Misty's like, we played Truth or Dare and Callie was trying to ask Lottie about the wilderness, and I shut that down. And I wish we could just smash cut to Misty passed out after.
Did you ever do the which Yellowjacket are you quiz?
Maybe early on.
Did you get Misty?
I do not recall who I got.
Okay, I feel like you'd be a Misty.
Jesus, is that good or bad?
Because you always have all these weird random fun facts like that.
Because I like to make conversation.
I feel like you'll be the one that would like, oh, the berries are from Vermont.
Okay, so I did that at Disney World with a bunch of people I work with. And I'm talking about like Via Napoli pizza. And I'm like, they import the water from Italy there. So the pizza dough is authentic. Like I do remember these sort of things.
I don't. I do a lot of. I do that as well. So maybe I should not judge you for that. Because I remember we went on a trip for my old job, and we were staying at a hotel where Al Capone used to stay. So I started telling all these stories about the hotel that we were staying at in Chicago, and everybody was like, "How do you know this?" It's fun. It's
It's
fun. You make
fun.
random conversation. You're right. You're right. But I still feel like you're being misty.
Thanks. Okay, so Missy wants to unair quote her friendship with Shauna and wants to spend a day with Shauna. Her staff meeting was canceled. Um, Shauna's got to go get a gift basket. Missy's got okay. Oh my god, because I'm like I would have strong thoughts or feelings about where to get a gift basket. Maybe I am a Misty.
You are. I'm telling you, Glenn. I know you.
Like, okay, so
We've
speaking
been
of smash,
friends for a long time. It's
I
been
know.
lucky, but it's been a long time. I know you.
Okay, so let me explain. I just did a trip to see friends and family up in Northern California. Um, I'm thinking now about the conversations I had. So I mentioned these smash cuts, right? Of like scenes to play out. And you're like, oh, you strike me as this. And I'm just like in my head going through this highlight reel of the last few days as I'm going like, do you use Chat GPT to help plan your meals? Oh my God, it's phenomenal. And I talk about it for 5 minutes. Yes, where I'm just then talking about like which movie theater is the best one in the county. I'm talking about, in Las Vegas, people that are going to Vegas, like which restaurants are the best, which hotel, like the Win has the best standard rooms of any hotel in Vegas. Yes. Oh my God, I'm a Misty. Issa, we have I'm gonna have so much to talk about with Chat GPT later about this.
You're welcome. Wait, who would I be?
I don't, well, you've got the darkness, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So maybe a little Lottie, maybe a little, and giving your shoplifting at the mall past.
I feel like I would be like I would be maybe more of a Thaisa because she doesn't like people at all.
Okay, there you go. You don't want to start a cult?
No, I don't. Because I will hire somebody to start the cult for me. You know what I mean? Like I will run it from behind the scenes.
Okay. Okay. So Shaw's got to give gift basket. Misty has very strong feelings about where to go to Caspian's. And then she has a podiatrist appointment, which Misty is very excited about.
Feet doctors, I heard they're sexy.
Yeah,
Where
they're
did you
sexy,
hear
right?
this? Where did you hear this? Like I never even been to a foot doctor, so I wouldn't even know if they're sexy. I'm googling this.
I think
Hold
maybe
on, Glenn.
no, what I think it is, because Misty, as we've learned, is a lot of theory when it comes to interpersonal relationships. I think maybe she's confusing like a foot fetish with a foot doctor. I don't know.
Nobody
I think,
has Google are they sexy because it's not popping up in my generator.
yeah, I think she's conflating, not confusing. I think she's merging the idea that some people have a foot thing with the idea of going to a foot doctor.
Yeah, you know what? This was a bad idea to Google that.
Yeah, now that's in your history. Now the algorithm's going to serve you things.
But everything that came up were just a bunch of Reddit conversations about like, as a foot doctor, do you get to see sexy feet?
Probably not as much as they get to see jacked feet. That's just my
That's
thought.
what I'm saying, right?
I mean, I think if you've got a foot thing, like become a pedicurist, like
No, you work at a designer shoe place.
that too.
You're not gonna see no jackfoot trying to get into a $1,000 pair of shoes.
I mean, maybe, who knows? Anyhow, so Ty is waiting for Van to tell Van about the waiter that died. The waiter left behind a family. He was very well loved. Van
But did
wants.
you read the obituary? He said he loved woodworking. I don't know. He sounded like he was a wilderness person.
Yeah, deep level woodworking, survived by his mother and 3 siblings.
The
Donations.
woodworking, Glenn.
Yes, I know. He's handy with an axe.
Maybe
Also,
he's drawing.
Shout out to the headline writer that chose. I'm sorry, I don't mean to be callous, but this is Yellowjackets. Michelin stars star server falls. Like, someone that day was like, I went to journalism school, damn it. Like, I'm writing the hell out of this headline.
People will click on this.
Wait. Here we go. He loved woodworking. You know what his full name was?
Yes.
Ethan Pines.
Bro.
Bro.
It connects. It all connects. Yeah, you just got bro.
Ethan Pines, a little on the nose there for the audio listeners. Hell of a guy in quotes. Yes.
Hell of a like Sami Zayn's kick.
Yeah. Why don't they call that the hell of a kick? The hell of a kick is the dumbest name for a wrestling move. And I love Sami.
It is. I always
Anyhow,
just call it hell of a kick. So
hell of a kick. Okay, so Van wants to tell Ty about her cancer being in remission. Ty wants to talk about
how
the
she
waiter
killed the
passing
waiter.
away. How she killed the waiter. I was gonna say the waiter passing away.
Same thing.
Yes. Okay, so Van is very or Ty is very happy about Van's news, but then points out the waiter this sacrifice and then starts lighting the candle and doing the chant. We hear
Yeah,
the
because
wilderness and hears us.
Van is not saying it, but she's thinking it too. They know they made a sacrifice, and that's why she's getting better.
It's also interesting that Van.
At least it wasn't a dog this time.
Yes, but it's crazy that Van. I mean, she's not happy about this, but she's also not as freaked out as I think she would be. If this was last season and Ty started doing the wilderness religious observance, I think Van would have been out of there.
They're in love now, though.
Yes. Well, and her cancer is in remission. I mean, you know, you can't put that toothpaste back in the tube of unkilling the waiter. So she's just rolling with it. Life gave her lemons. She's doing the best she can.
Do you think that happens in real life? Like when something bad happens, maybe something good happens to somebody?
I mean, maybe. I don't think you can like make a sacrifice. Maybe you can. I don't know.
You can't, but you don't even know. Like, let's say that you are in a deep situation and you just magically get out of it. You're in a money situation and you get this check out of the blue. It doesn't mean you made a sacrifice, but maybe somebody else, something happened, and that's why that good is coming to you. You know what I mean?
It's possible. It's possible.
This show got me. This show got me going crazy.
No, I got you. It gives you a lot to think about.
Yeah.
You know. But I did also like the Ty mentioned the first Natalie, now this guy. Because at the end of season 2, when Natalie died, everybody in the fan community, shout out to the Yellowjackets subreddit and all the other podcasts, ours included, was like, oh, now Van's going to go into remission because Natalie was a sacrifice.
Right.
So it took 2, which is also interesting.
She was very sick.
Yeah. I wonder though, okay, here's the interesting thing about this though, is that other Ty, we haven't seen other Ty in a while, but have they merged?
That's what I'm saying. Because when she started doing the crazy candle thing, she wasn't other Ty, but I saw other Ty. And later on, she has a little bit of a freak out too when they're watching TV. I feel like that's other Ty. I feel like she might, I don't know if you said she might have learned to control it, but I think it's still an entity within her.
I feel like it's more integrated so far this season. She's not sneaking out and howling at the moon.
Maybe Van kind of like keeps it center.
Oh, maybe. Oh,
because
well, but in the wilderness, though, we still got other Ty. That's when she was eating dirt.
Oh,
Van found her. Oh, that's true. Okay, so Coach Ben approaches Mari with a knife. Mari thinks she's going to stab her. Although in hindsight, Coach Ben, maybe that wouldn't have been a terrible idea. But he cuts her free. And yeah, it's kind of weird that Mari was like, it seemed like after the Mace incident and their connection, you know, we talked about, we've talked about forever on this podcast that Mari has a hidden dark side. We interviewed Alexa Barajas, go back to the episode after season 1, and we speculated Mari has a dark side.
Yes.
I think this really confirms it, this episode.
Agreed.
Yeah.
They're all crazy though. They all have a weird side.
I mean, sure.
Now, and I thought Coach Ben was the adult. Why is he making the dumb choices?
Well, because
why would you let her go?
Because he said, well, what was your plan to like mace me and escape? And then she said, well, what's your plan to keep me here hostage? And he was like, you're right. This is stupid. He's just going to hang out, talk to the voices, eat roasted bat, and chow down on those rations that he still got some of. But it's also weird that she like kicks him down and throws his crutch away and then runs away like he's gonna change his mind.
Yeah. I mean, it's a good try.
Yes.
Gives her a little bit. Like, they're both limping. Like, how much ahead are you going to get by? Okay.
So Misty and Shauna are Thelma and Louising it. Misty insists on having the window rolled down while they're out running errands. And I'd forgotten actually originally about the incident in the bathroom in the package in episode 1 and 2. When the breaks were cut,
about the bathroom lady.
Can we not call her
She's
that?
the biggest mystery.
Yeah, and so she 99% certain she cut Shauna's brakes.
Yeah, the bathroom lady, not Misty.
Yeah. And Shauna thinks it's Misty.
Right.
Which would be hilarious.
The whole thing when the brakes are not working, I should not be laughing, but it was so funny. It was my favorite thing on the whole episode.
Yes. I think that this is a lot of fun. And then we get Limp Bizkit's Nookie playing for some reason.
That's why I loved it. The soundtrack of it made it even better.
Yes.
But let me ask you something. Now that I think about it, now that we're discussing it out loud, Misty does make her take a different route. And then Misty plays the hero by going, oh, go up the grassy knoll. So maybe Misty did do it.
I don't think Misty did it. I think Misty, no, I guarantee you Misty knows what to do in this situation because she's been thinking about this for a while. Like, do you ever read those books, like those How to Survive books?
I don't.
Oh, I've read a lot of good ones that are like How to Survive Being Kidnapped, How to Survive. Like, it just got different chapters. It's even got ones about what if you're lost in the woods. So I think Misty absolutely has thought about what to do if your brakes stop working. And look, it came in handy here because although it's funny that it took her so long to think of just pulling the e-brake.
Yeah, that's the original thought, which nobody thought about in this case. My most threatening line of the whole episode was, "I want you out of my minivan right now."
It was good, and she talks about like holding people hostage, having syringes filled with fatal drugs. Like, Shauna does not want to be friends with.
Yeah, because Shauna is just so innocent and she never does no wrong, right? That she can just judge Misty.
Yeah. It was good. Like, it was very cathartic, I think, for Shauna to yell this. But it's also weird that Shauna doesn't. Well, Shauna does accuse her of being responsible for the bathroom incident as well. So.
Yeah.
Interesting. And she doesn't know about the tape. She doesn't know the tape that Callie swiped, the DAT tape. So we got that lingering still.
That's never gonna get figured out. She's not even gonna know what that is.
No, but what's gonna happen? Here's what's gonna happen. I'm gonna tell you exactly what's gonna happen. The next thing, the bathroom. I'm not calling her bathroom lady. It's Melissa, right? It's grown up Melissa. We know this.
I still want to say bathroom lady until it's confirmed.
Okay, but the next thing that they do is gonna hit close to home. Shauna's gonna be freaked out, and Callie is then gonna say, "Oh, wait a second, this got dropped off for you." Like, right?
Yeah, I guess she could do that.
This was good. I like Misty stumbling as she was walking away, yelling at the children, "What are you looking at?" Like, breakdowns.
So good.
Breakdowns when played for comedy are always entertaining.
You ever yelled at a stranger kid or like made a face at it? I have.
That is so you. No, not really. Well, I mean, it's like I felt like an old man the first time I had to like kind of yell at children outside the window, like, "Hey, kids, knock it off!" You know.
I do the when a kid looks at me, you know.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
I did not tell them to get off my lawn. I thought it, but I didn't say it.
You thought it?
But I saying it just seemed like too much.
Wow, you're turning into a Shauna now.
It happens to us all as we get older. But I mean, this is kind of tough, right? I mean, it does show like Misty and Natalie spent a lot of time together in season 1. We had the 4 of them in season 2, but yeah, Misty is not really friends with these women.
No, they just use her.
Yeah.
They always have. They weren't friends with her in the woods either.
I know. Well, I mean.
Oh, and my favorite thing is like Shauna yells at her, like, "You are a certified psycho. Something happened to you when you were a kid. You think?
Yeah, right?
You know? Your parents did something to you." Anyways.
Yes.
So I will be friends with Misty.
There you go. Well, back in the woods, Melissa wants to talk to Shauna. Shauna lets her stay, says you're not going to end up being boring, are you? And before they can really get into it, we really don't have movement on their front this week because then Mari's back and everyone's excited Mari's back. But I like that Shauna's marching there to be like, where did you go? What did you do? Like she wants to instantly rekindle the fight with Mari. She's more interested in fighting with Mari than she is in her developing situationship with Melissa.
Good. We all need to hate at our full capacity. That's what Kendrick Lamar has taught us.
It's true. I mean, that'll get you a Grammy. Okay, so Mari's back.
Halftime show.
Yes. It's weird that Mari can't, Mari's mistake because she said, I was out, I fell in a hole, my knee got messed up, I had to push it back into place. It took me a while to get back here. Like baby Jessica who died is like baby Jessica didn't die and that was a well, not a hole. But Mari's mistake when I watched this the second time is she said 20 feet deep. She could have just said she tripped on something. She could have said anything else and it would have been fine. And the hole was not 20 feet deep.
It was not. Probably like 10 at most.
At most.
At most. And I'm exaggerating because she doesn't look like she'll be very tall. So I'm assuming even a 8 feet like hole will probably look tall on her, you know?
Yeah. And Shauna says, if your knee was messed up, how'd you get out of the hole? But this is okay. Look, here's the thing. And I've been a Mari defender because I like her hidden darkness and I think she's funny. But here's where, again, she told Coach Scott that she wasn't going to give up his location in all of this. She mentions that Coach Scott found her, and she could have stopped there. She could have just said, like, he found me, he tossed me down a rope, and then when I got up, he was nowhere to be seen. Sure. Could have said that. Could have said, help me out, and then ran away.
I wouldn't have believed her.
But, well, do you think, I mean, I don't know. This is where it gets tricky because why would the girls have assumed that, like, what actually happened if Coach Scott bringing her back to his lair, as Natalie puts it, nursing her back to health? Like, is that what they suspected was going on here? Like, she could have stopped and protected him.
Yeah, I see your point too. That's valid. I didn't think about that.
Yeah, like there's no reason. It's like Mari got a little bit attacked and then just like ratted out his location entirely.
No backbone. No backbone.
Yeah. Took me to the cave he's been living in. But then, I mean, the reaction is like, oh, he took you prisoner. Like, we have to go find him. I'm assuming they're going to kill him. But they still think he burned down the cabin.
Right.
And Misty's sticking up for him. Natalie's trying to cover for him. But it's like between Natalie, Misty, and Mari, there should be a contingent here that could calm this. And even Ty is like, what do you want to do? Go hunt him down? Like, I feel like the mob could have been calmed a little bit here.
Yeah, agreed. But they are looking for some. I mean, you're in the woods. Nothing interesting ever happens, Glenn. So
that's true.
I'm ready to go. You know what I mean?
Well, and then Shauna is so freaking out. But then because Shauna is not being nice to Mari, Mari is then backing up Shauna.
Right.
This is very sticky.
It's weird.
It is weird. Meanwhile, Lottie wants Akila to start talking to the wilderness. But they've got a manhunt to go on. Literally.
Yes. Right
Um,
now.
right, like and that's weird too, right? Like, wouldn't you wait for maybe morning? Well, no, but Shauna thinks that he's gonna escape and go hide somewhere else.
Oh yeah, this is true. You're right. You're right. I forgot about that. But yeah,
But
they
which is
have to do it
also
right now.
weird because if he's been hiding out there for months, why would he move? Like, it just
Because she knows now. I mean, remember they don't know they could think she escaped, and now if he figures out she escapes, he's got to move location. You know.
I hear you. I hear you. Okay, so Lottie and Callie are in the kitchen. Like, it's like practical magic in there. They're having a sing along. Like, it's just a fun, good time making harissa chicken, and green
Yes.
beans, and there's charcuterie board. Like, they're having the best
Yes.
time. But then Shauna comes in. Lottie wants to do this as a thank you for the hospitality Shauna has shown her, but Lottie gave Callie the necklace. And what's interesting about this is Shauna freaks out, rips the necklace off of her, get the F out of my house. So Lottie,
She goes crazy.
but we get kind of confirmation of a fan theory here because remember, the necklace was present in the very first scene of the show. The mystery pit girl was wearing the necklace.
Yes.
The necklace originally belonged to Jackie. And then, wait, let me just follow through. And then Shauna is saying, how could you do this? And then Lottie says the necklace means something, but not what you think it means, because the fan theory is that whoever wears the necklace is going to be hunted next. But Lottie's saying that's not what it means.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, look, based on right now, they want us to believe that Callie is the pit girl from the season 1, episode 1, scene 1, and that hunt is taking place in present day with Callie having to prove something. They want us to believe that right now. I don't know that that's the case. My money's still on Mari, but I believe that's what they want us to believe.
I still think it's Mari, but this makes sense.
Lottie has clearly got some designs on Callie and some plans.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, Shauna is just furious and kicks Lottie out after making dinner.
Yes.
Which I believe is an homage to that scene in the movie Summer School where Courtney Thorne-Smith makes the dinner for Mark Harmon. He realizes it's weird and she leaves. And he gets to eat the dinner alone, much like the Shipmans are going to now eat this dinner. Not the Shipmans. Not the Shipmans. What's Jeff's? The Sadeckis are now going to eat this dinner. And it's got to be weird too, because you just threw this person out and you're eating the dinner. You're like, this is a pretty good dinner. But I'm still mad at him. But this dinner's pretty good. And notice she
waste food,
Yeah. And notice Shauna tosses the glasses and silverware on the floor. She doesn't toss the charcuterie board on the floor.
Oh no. Why would you do that?
Why would you do that?
People
She's like, this still looks pretty good.
Board. Okay.
Yeah. No, that's my thought on this. This is like, look, I'm gonna get mad, but I'm not messing up what looks like a lovely meal.
Right, correct.
I get it, man. Okay, so Van, after my heart here. Van has a ton of VHS tapes. Van, I'm living that lifestyle. We're probably on the same torrent sites.
She had a video store, Glenn.
No, but she's got old VHS TV recordings.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, she's probably on the same torrent sites I am, where everyone digitizes these and uploads them and watches them.
Like the 80 commercials?
Yes, 80s commercial vault on YouTube. I meant to shout that out because if you love old commercials from the 70s, 80s, and 90s, watch 80s commercial vault on YouTube. We put that on the background all the time. And what that is somebody has taken an evening of television from a random night in the 70s, 80s, or 90s. They've edited out the TV show and just left in the commercials. So you get anywhere from 20 minutes to an hour of just the commercials from Night of TV. And it's the best thing. We put it on the background all the time. Oh my God, I love it so much. But I have a little teensy bone to pick here.
Okay.
That they're watching Pee-wee's Playhouse, which Van not a fan of, which is an interesting revelation. She's like, I just happen to have the VHS tapes, and I get it. I used to meet people off Craigslist to pick up their VHS tapes. I would post and be like,
"Why that sounds like the beginning of one of those Mr. Nightmare YouTube videos."
We would meet in a public place and they would give me a bunch of VHS tapes and then I would bring them home and I would go through it and be like, okay, what do they have that's interesting? And I would digitize and upload and share things that were good.
Oh, good.
You know,
I'm so glad you're still alive.
I don't think I was going to be killed in the Stonestown Galleria parking lot picking up VHS tapes.
You could get killed anywhere, Glenn.
That's true. But I got some good stuff. I got like this guy dude taped like a lot of award shows and a lot of Friday night videos. Not so much MTV, but Friday night videos is actually kind of more fun. That's where I got that tape where I uploaded those clips onto Twitter of like Macho Man Randy Savage introducing music videos to Mean Gene Okerlund. Yes. It's amazing. Like it's so good. Like I put those clips on Twitter. It's amazing. Anyhow, small bone to pick here.
Okay.
Ty says, "Oh, I love this show. I used to watch it every Saturday morning on CBS at 9 a.m. Oh, Pee-wee's Playhouse was don't you? Pee-wee's Playhouse was never on at 9 a.m. It was on at 9:30 for a brief period of time.
What? She was in a different time zone.
She was on the East Coast time zone, but that was a 10 a.m.
How do you know
show.
she grew up there the whole time?
She grew up in Central?
I don't know.
Maybe she grew up in Central.
Yeah.
Okay. I'll benefit of the doubt there. But it was always on at 9:30 or 10. And then they moved it later in the morning in the later seasons. And then in 1990, they mysteriously...
my favorite, so I gotta defend her somehow.
Yeah. And then like around 1990 or 1991, they mysteriously stopped making new episodes of Pee-wee's Playhouse and took it off the air. What happened? We'll never know. But moving on. I love this moment with them, not just because of the nostalgia, but I love that she's like Van's talking about her mom being drunk and having to slap her out, and then Ty's like mocking her about what a sad little girl she was. And I'm like, this is a little weird, but it's very sweet and romantic in a strange way. This is how couples talk.
I love them. I love them.
This was great just to see them getting couch time like this.
I'm never gonna find love like that.
Give it time, Issa. Give it time.
I need somebody to be willing to survive the wilderness and not see me for 20 years and then still love me. That's all I'm looking for.
So there's an actual commercial at the tail end here for the Land of Make Believe. Those commercials are online. It was like a theme park for children. There's a plane. It's the Land of Make Believe. But then we get a big revelation.
The man with no eyes.
There's an old commercial for Ozzy's ice cream parlor, and it talks about their eye-popping flavors, and you see these cartoon Roger Rabbit style eyes come out of this man, and when they disappear, he's eating the ice cream and he has no eyes, and it's the man with no eyes. And Ty is freaking out saying, do you see this? Because normally Ty's the only one that sees it. Van does see it, but this is where the man with no eyes came from and imprinted him onto Thaisa. This is huge. And in fact, now if you go back and watch that scene where her grandmother died, similar to what Mari said about Eureka's Castle being on when her cousin died, did this imprint during that time. And that's why Thaisa associates death with the man with no eyes.
Right. Right.
And things
again,
like this,
it's a commercial to an ice cream place, and to you and me it can mean nothing, and Thaisa is trauma forever.
No. Look, I have a friend that would always refuse to watch the Brady Bunch and refused to watch the Brady Bunch movie, even though it's still hilarious, because he was like, I have this memory of my parents having a really bad fight, and then that's why they got divorced, because of that fight, and the Brady Bunch was on the background, and I'm like, I just can't watch that show anymore. And I'm like, I get it, dude.
Wow.
But the Brady Bunch movie is really funny. You should check it out sometime.
You need to relax.
But I've heard things like people get this with a song. People get this with a variety of things. Like, I understand this. It's interesting for Ty, though, like manifesting her literally seeing the guy, right?
And like to see Van being able to see him, like it was a moment for her, a realization.
And then they Google it. It's permanently closed.
She wants to go to the place right now.
Yes.
These girls waste no time when they get tea. Like, as soon as they get some tea, they want to get to the bottom of this immediately, whether they're in the wilderness or in present day.
She ain't practicing law. That Senate thing didn't work out. What else does she have going on? Get to the bottom of this, Ty. Make it happen. Know? Yeah.
Do you think she got a severance package when she impeached herself?
I don't know. I don't know how government pensions work, but I don't think she probably paid in enough for that. Maybe. Who knows? We'll see. Sorry, just I have like 5 different jokes. And I'm like, nope, not going there right now. Um, okay, so we couldn't go back to Misty, who like shushing Caligula, telling her to be quiet, and Misty
Terrible. The first
burning
time we see the bird all season, and it's just being told to shut up.
and Misty burning the photo from the high school reunion of the 4 of them.
I thought originally a little.
I thought originally, and she has it framed on her mantle, but I thought she was going in there. I thought she had something hidden in the back or something. Like she hid something there. Nope. Just like burning it. Very, very sad. Very sad that it's come to this. But I wonder, I mean, is she going to get back with Walter now?
Walter was right. Hashtag Walter was right.
Just bums me out. I like the 4 of them together. It's fun.
Me too. That was actually one of my favorite episodes. The high school prom episode was like the reunion was so good, so good.
Well, I mean, because it had Allie, the best.
We don't even go there. No, I knew you. Why did I even say it?
What if Allie is the bathroom lady and cut the brakes and left the package? What if it's not Melissa? What if it's Allie?
To be the star of the freaking show.
Yeah. What if it's Allie? Please let the reveal be that it's Allie.
It's not.
That would be so amazing. They have a trauma.
We just need a cameo, please, Yellowjackets. Give us a cameo just for Glenn.
Yes. I found out today on Facebook friends with one of the writers on Yellowjackets.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I don't want to say who, but I've been following her work for a long time. Back when she was a journalist, and yeah, I'm Facebook friends with her. And then I saw her name in the credits, and I was like, "Oh my god, I didn't even realize. That's so cool."
Did you DM her?
No, because I think it's a little because we cover the show and because she is a writer.
Why you DM her?
Oh, there are proper channels. I can't do that. You know, gotta respect boundaries.
There are proper channels, but if you're friends with someone, the proper channels have all been open. It's right there for you.
That's true. Oh, co-creator Ashley Lyle, her Twitter totally got hacked.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's some like weird crypto shit on there. Like
a lot of Twitters are getting hacked for the crypto stuff.
Yeah, got to turn on that.
It's happening all over. It's happening all over wrestling too. Just
turn on that 2-factor authentication.
You're still gonna get hacked.
Get that authenticator app. Don't just use SMS. Use a secure password manager.
Yeah, I let Apple pick my passwords and then I forget them, so I have to change them every time I log in. That's amazing. I'm super safe.
Okay, so Ozzy's is closed down. They drive there immediately. It's boarded up. They break in.
Yes.
And they see a coyote that ate a rabbit. I like the text. Like, I wonder what it wants. The van's like, it wants more. I mean, come on. That's hungry. What the sound is. Yeah, it's hungry. That's but Van's buying into this. Van is immediately back into the I mean, if you know what, if I had stage 4 cancer and magically went into remission, I'd be like, I'm just gonna roll. If it's the dark arts or whatever causes, I'm in. Yeah.
Yeah.
If religion gives you, that's what organized religion should do first, is perform miracles to give people a little taste and be like, hey, you like this? There's more where that came from. Start going to church.
I fell down a rabbit hole of all those religious people that would scam. Like the guy that used to wear the earpiece and the wife would tell him exactly what was wrong with the people and they were like performing miracle cures.
Oh, the other John Edwards, not the politician?
Yeah, oh my God, I went down a rabbit hole. There's a bunch of them that do that. It's crazy. So a scam. The wilderness is not, though.
Wilderness is real. Yeah. Like David Blaine and his magic.
Immediate PTSD. I had so much fun with you. I cannot wait to go back to Vegas.
I know. We're going to go see David Blaine. And I'm going to stand up and yell, David Blaine, I love you and your magic is real. Okay. So back in the wilderness, they get to the cave. And you know what? It wasn't the Artist of the Millennium Award. Brittany said he is my Artist of the Millennium. Michael came out. Michael saw the centerpiece and thought he was receiving an award. He's Michael Jackson. He got awards all the time everywhere he went.
Yeah.
You know, we mocked him for it, but it all makes sense if you know the story. Just pointing it out.
It was so funny, though.
And he had that acceptance speech ready to go.
When it happened, it was so funny. Now, you know what? Bless his heart.
And he had that acceptance speech that was off the top of his head.
He was ready for this.
He was ready for that. He was ready for that.
Oh my God! Thanks for bringing that up. That was a beautiful moment.
So back in the wilderness, they find the cave, and again, it's pitch black outside. Girls, get some rest. Come back in the morning. He ain't getting that far.
You know, they have nothing else to do, Glenn.
I get it. Get the cave. They go in the cave. Some of the cave is blocked off by rocks. What could that mean?
You know what it means.
Yeah, they split up and they go in different directions. And it's interesting that when this happened, I was not prepared for what we were going to see.
I got so confused.
Well, you know what? You know what I hate? And this is why you have to watch everything the second it comes out, is because I go to like the Hollywood Reporter or Deadline, and it's like Yellowjackets executive producer explains that mind-bending sequence.
Don't read it, Glenn.
Yeah.
I don't get into anything, the subreddit or any of the things, until after we record.
Yeah.
Because I don't want like the online theories back. Although they're good, as soon as we're done recording, I like get lost in the rabbit hole, right? But until we do all the show, I want to come in with like, I was gonna say my pure thoughts. I don't have a pure thought in my mind, but like with my clean mind, with what I saw and how I feel about it right now, before I start reading theories or anybody explaining it.
Yes. So they split up, and Shauna, Akila, and Van go one path, and weird stuff starts happening with the flame, suggesting there's gas in the flame. The rest of the crew splits off. It's scary. I thought of the movie The Descent immediately, and that it started feeling very claustrophobic.
Me too. One of the underrated. So one of the scariest movies.
It's freaky. I do like though when they talk about going both ways. They're like, maybe it's a double bluff, you know, like the movie with the two guys. Immediately she goes, "Do you mean The Princess Bride?" That was great.
So funny.
Yeah. So they split up. Akila, Van, and Shauna one by one disappear.
Yes.
Van sees a door and goes through it. And then we are in the most stylistically crafted sequence, I think, of the show's history. I mean, and credit to Jonathan Lisco, co-creator of the show, who directed this episode. There was so much to break down here in terms of references, homages, influences, and whatnot that happens in this. So Van goes through the door, and immediately we are in the other world, where Van sees the cabin. Well, at first she's in darkness, and then she realizes she's in the back in the cabin. There's a fire. She goes and sits down in front of the fire.
Beautiful CGI fire in her eyes.
Yes. And the music, this immediately is a David Lynch, like Twin Peaks style sequence. Beautifully done. We know, based on that influence, I mean, Twin Peaks, a great early 90s show. We know that this is supposed to be similar to the Black Lodge. Something is going on here. But yeah, I love the reflection in Van's eyes. Her being mesmerized by it. Like, this was just a very well done sequence, and it also makes sense because she was holding the flame and the methane or the gas, right. I'm assuming it's methane, that flared it up, so it kind of makes sense, like her having this nostalgia for the cabin in a way, and having enjoyed that time there. Akila is in nature and immediately starts eating blackberries.
She had the best one.
You liked hers the best?
Yes.
This was interesting. She's eating the blackberries. She's sees the goats, the chickens, and we see she's very in tune with nature. So it's good. But then there's a llama that starts talking to her. And the voice
llama sold me on this.
Yes, and the voice is Vincent Pastore from The Sopranos.
Yes.
And this sequence is an homage to the Sopranos episode where Tony had the dream that the fish was telling him he was in danger. And talking to him.
The
So
llama said everything with teeth bites.
yes, everything
I
with
love
teeth
that.
bites. So you have to be careful, which interesting, but perhaps foreshadowing in this.
Right.
Yeah, everything will defend itself.
The llama was great. The talking llama was my favorite thing.
It was good. But saying that like they're calling you is very interesting. This encounter. And we now know based on what Travis said, like Aquila is the most in touch with nature. Then we get a very sad sequence, and this music, I do not believe this was not the music from Rosemary's Baby. This music was a direct homage to Rosemary's Baby.
Right. Right.
And even Shauna wearing all white in the lake floating, seeing her a vision of her son who didn't make it through childbirth, swimming towards the sun. I mean, it's actually very heartbreaking when you think about it. Swimming towards the sun, but she's not moving forward. They do that great effect where it's like she's swimming, but she's not doing any motion. She looks so happy to see him. This was just a very heartbreaking, tender moment. And it makes sense for her dream, you know. So if Van wants to be back in the cabin, Akila wants to be with nature, and Shauna wants to be with her son, this all makes sense. This is where inside each of their subconsciouses and like what their want is.
Mm-hmm.
And Van, now that I think about this, I didn't put this together. Given that Van was talking about her mom and how bad her home life was, that time in the cabin was actually probably one of the happiest times of Van's life.
The most home-like environment she's been in. Yes.
Yes. So then we cut back to Van in the cabin, and she's sitting in the airplane seat, and she can't get out.
Right.
Much like
when she sits down and she's admiring the fire, we see like this spark of fire start like burning the carpet, and then the seatbelt like comes out, kind of like ties her down to the chair, and it turns into like the cabin / the plane.
And then we get a very Nightmare on Elm Street Evil Dead sequence with hands grabbing her. Now, do you know who the hands are?
The people that died in the fire, in the plane crash, no?
Well, no, it's Cabin Guy, who we haven't seen since the end of season 1.
Okay.
It's Javi's hand. And Jane Widdop, former guest of the show, Laura Lee, it's her hand as well. It's grabbing Van.
No.
So they are all dead. You're correct about that.
Yeah, okay, so I didn't catch it to like the point that you will recognize which hand was which, but I figure it's people that have died, like, you know, in these accidents.
Yes. And Van can't escape, but she does get herself free and gets out of the cabin. And it's interesting. So with these dreams, they all turn into nightmares, right? For Shauna, she's happy to see her child. She can't get to her child. Van's happy to be in the cabin. Can't get out of the cabin. Akila happy to be in nature. The llama saying either way, it can be easy or hard. Either way, it gets what it wants, nature. And then Akila starts sinking into the ground. So yeah, all these dreams turn into nightmares. And it's very
very quick.
Very quick. Very well done. So I'm gonna get like a little hyper specific with this.
Please do.
They end up in a classroom. And I have not seen this mentioned anywhere, which is weird that this hasn't been mentioned anywhere.
Okay.
They're all in a classroom. They're all in their soccer uniforms. Lottie is the teacher at the blackboard. We get a reveal over to see Jackie, who's sitting there with the slap bracelet. The slap bracelet has the rune, the symbol on it, right? We have Akila asking Shauna and Van, "Are you in my dream or am I in yours?" And then, if it wasn't clear, the Dutch angle, meaning the tilted angle on the camera, this is like right out of Nightmare on Elm Street 4, which is it's not the best Nightmare on Elm Street movie. It's the third best Nightmare on Elm Street movie. It is severe. Nightmare on Elm Street 4 is seriously underrated. If you go watch that on its own, Rennie Harlan directed the hell out of that movie. And the style of that, people are like, "Oh, it's MTV, Freddy." Like, stylistically, watch the classroom scene near the beginning of Elm Street 4. This is very out of that. Also, strangely, another bad creation, maybe it was the Playground video, also had like the stern teacher in the classroom and a lot of Dutch angles. I don't think Another Bad Creation was the influence for this, but I do think that was also kind of like ripping off Dream Master. also.
Right.
But even the idea
Agreed.
of people being in the same dream, that's Nightmare on Elm Street 4. That's what the entire movie is about with
Correct.
Alice.
Yes. I got the same vibes. We got the similar reference on that because that's what I was thinking about. When they couldn't figure out whose dream it was, I was like, okay, Nightmare on Elm Street.
Yeah. Look, Jonathan Lithgow, let's sign him up to direct the next Elm Street reboot. We gotta do this. Quote from attributed to Ralph Waldo Emerson on the blackboard: of all the ways to lose a person, death is the kindest. Like, this is some heavy world building shit going on in this episode. Then we even have the cart with the rickety wheel going by. It's the man with no eyes. Like, oh my god,
Yes.
after this, I'm watching Elm Street 4 again. I'm watching Dream Master again. Normally, I like to watch
it tonight. I might watch it tonight.
Normally, I have a ritual where I like to watch 1, 3, 4, then 5 all back to back because they all kind of go into each other. But 4 is so stylistically good, and so much of this is like a direct homage to that. And if you will go back to watch 1, all props to Wes Craven. He created the series. Nightmare on Elm Street 1 was not this stylized. 4 was the one that kicked it up. Rennie Harlan made an art film that happened to be a Freddy Krueger movie.
Right.
Like just a visually beautiful film. But that's what this reminds me of. Okay, so we see Jackie for the first time this season with the slap bracelet. And
I was so happy to see her. I was so happy to see her.
Great.
I just want to put that out there. I know this was not the best scene, because it was so scary and everything, but it's just good to see a cameo by her.
It was great to see a cameo, and I love her expression. I love that she is like,
she hates them. She hates them.
She has like mean girl energy and death. She's the Regina George of the afterlife.
Yes. As she should be. They let her freeze to death.
So we saw everybody who died, not the original plane crash people, but Javi, Lauralee, and Jackie this episode in these nightmares.
Yep.
That's good. That's a good thing. So Keela tries the slap bracelet. Everything's fine. Van tries the slap bracelet. It cuts her, which was interesting. But I wonder if the thing we can draw from that is that Van already survived the attack with the wolves and has the scars. That's what the cut represents. And Aquila being fine, I wonder if that means that Aquila, because she's in touch with nature, is going to be okay in all this.
Yeah.
Because she can communicate with nature. But Shauna then, it gets stuck around her neck. Lottie is saying you need to help her. Now, I did see an interview with Jonathan Lithgow where he did say Lottie is not having the same dream. Lottie is represented in this dream, but Lottie, given her talking to the spirits, can be in both planes maybe, but Lottie is not having this dream. It is the core three in this that are having this shared dream. So Shauna with the slap bracelet gets stuck around her neck.
First of all, she tells Van to not be such a wuss. It's just a cut. Jackie's so mean.
She is.
Shauna just gets killed by the bracelet.
Yeah, well, it makes sense though, because she's choking from the fumes. Which is also, I mean, it's interesting what this segues into. And by the way, it is Jackie that like puts the slap bracelet on Shauna's neck where this is happening. So remember, they had that fight. So Jackie in the afterlife, is still pissed at Shauna, even after their makeover sessions with her corpse. So they're choking on the fumes. The fumes are causing this hallucination. We wake up to Coach Ben save it with the mask on, talking about the gas is poisonous and toxic. He's saving Van. Shauna's waking up choking. Like, Coach Ben has dragged them all to safety. I think Coach Ben might have I'm not saying he's going to live through the next episode, but I feel like he's got a decent defense. Like, he saved 3 of them here.
He saved them. He didn't have to. Right.
He didn't have to. But he's got a shotgun in his face from Natalie, who's apologizing. And
you're coming with us.
Yeah. It ain't good. It's not looking good for Coach Ben, but I feel like he's got a plausible defense.
At least for another episode or 2, I think he can make it.
Maybe. And we end on that cliffhanger.
You ever had one of those dreams, Glenn, where your dream is alerting you of something happening in real life and you wake up to that?
Yeah, I mean, have sleep apnea. Like that's entirely like I'm having a dream someone's trying to kill me, and then you wake up and you're just like. And the weird thing about it is, and I have like light apnea, but the weird thing about it is you could be having a regular dream and then out of nowhere, like someone's trying to kill you, and then you wake up. Like instantly.
I had like one happen recently where I couldn't breathe in my dream and I couldn't find my inhaler. I'm an asthmatic.
Oh, there you
Woke
go.
up half through an asthma attack needing my inhaler. So my and it was funny. It was like you said, it was a regular dream. Next thing I know, I'm having an asthma attack in the middle of the regular dream. So it's funny when that happens.
Yes. Okay, so here's the interesting thing about this. That speaks to hallucinations, speaks to the red water we saw in season 1, and speaks to the rations in the trench that Coach Ben found. Like, this is, I mean, now as confirmed as it can be, this is a former mining site of some sort.
Yes.
And it could be connected. The gas and the iron deposits, sulfur dioxide, methane, carbon monoxide, they could be hallucinating. Like this is huge in so many ways of what we got with the Mari talking about the two realities. We got the origin of the man with no eyes. We always know where he came from now. We have the dream sequences. Like I feel like they're giving us answers, whereas if we were frustrated in season 2 that not enough was being addressed, like they're really now leaning into explaining things. And in fact, if the showrunners have a 5-season arc, here's the crazy thing, Issa. We're only 2 episodes away from being at the halfway point of that 5-season
right.
arc. You know, so I like that movements are happening. That makes me really happy.
Me too.
Let's talk about a big Easter egg that I hope you all did your homework on. Ozzy's homemade ice cream. The phone number 732-858-5242. You call that number and you get a voicemail with some hidden things in there. Of course, it cuts in and out with some creepy, ominous messages, but well, that's good. And I found something hidden in there.
Okay,
with the help of a friend. If you take the audio, and I posted this on Reddit because I'm doing my good part as assistant detective. If you record the audio and then in your audio editor, switch on stereogram mode, which is another way of looking at the audio, there's a message written out that says it's hungry in the audio. Kind of cool they went to the trouble to encode that. But here's what I'm more impressed by. I'm more impressed that if you call Ozzy's ice cream, there's a lot of flavors, like smashed pumpkin, like cranberry dreams, like Friends of Peach. Lots of 90s alternative rock references from 95 to 2000. And that made me very happy.
I love that.
Yes, if you want to see the stereogram, go to the Yellowjackets Buzz Instagram. We posted it on there.
Yes, and Twitter too. Didn't you post it on Twitter?
I did also post it on Twitter. Yellowjackets Bees, BZ.
Yeah, that's where I got the number from.
Yeah.
I didn't do all the audio thing that you did, but I did call it. Gave me some flashback to Sunshine Honey, remember?
Yeah.
They posted that number. I love when they do that stuff.
It's cool, but they're definitely doing it more as light Easter eggs. Like this isn't an alternate reality game. They're not going super deep with it. Oh, and a shout out to Surrealistic Pill in the community, who a friend of mine who helped with stereograms and understanding all of that stuff and helping clean this up and put it together.
I feel like if it was an alternative reality, people would be upset. And we even had some people mentioning in the chat earlier as we're recording this live on YouTube.
Oh, but no, I'm saying with an alternate reality game, so just to be clear, like they're not doing a full thing where there's like something to decode here, where like you get to go off and have your own little experience. You know what I mean? Like they're not setting up websites. Yeah. They're not that we know of. Like there's no puzzles.
No, everything that they've ever set up is just clues. But that's just me. I don't go as deep into it as other people do.
I would like if there were puzzles, but I don't think most people are going to solve them.
Right.
Even the stereogram thing. You know, if that hadn't been mentioned to me, I wouldn't have thought of it. Like, But the show creators, Bart and Ashley, worked on a show before based on an alternate reality game, so I think they've got some love for the genre, and they're doing like these little things. So look, this
It's
was a huge
great.
episode. This was a huge episode of the show. We got a lot of movement. We got a lot of reveals. Can't wait for next week.
Same.
Episode 4. I did not watch Next On, so I don't know what's happening next week.
I didn't either. I didn't. Shut up. I didn't either.
Yeah. But they don't always have it on the streaming version. I have to like go on YouTube. It's a whole thing. But you know, I don't want to know because here's the thing about Next On. Like Breaking Bad was the worst with this. Breaking Bad would make it seem like the next episode was the one where Walter was going to get found out and everything bad was going to happen. Like they're meant to just get you to tune in. They're not real. You know, like they manipulate it to misdirect you sometimes. You know?
You're right.
Okay, well, there you go. Follow Issa, NYC Demon Diva, Diva with a 1. I'm at Glenn Rubenstein. Back next week for episode 4 on Yellowjackets Buzz. Like, share, subscribe. Take care. See you then.